Oh, it is. It is a big Monday. Happy Monday here on Donno Daily on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Thank you so much for tuning in. Whether you're watching us live starting here at 2:56 p.m. on Monday afternoon or you're watching us later on via a replay, either way, do us a solid and smash the like button. Hit that thumbs up button. And yeah, make sure you're subscribing to the 5 Reasons Sports Network on YouTube. I knew when I woke up this morning, and I woke up very early this morning, I knew it was going to be a busy day. You know, we've been talking a lot of Dolphins lately, but we also talk Canes, we also talk Heat, and yeah, every now and again we talk Marlins, Panthers, okay? And I knew we would have a busy show today because there have been more rumblings, something we talked about last week, of Jason Taylor, Pro Football Hall of Famer, former Miami Dolphin, potentially joining the Miami Hurricanes coaching staff. There's been a lot of Dolphins rumors lately. You had the Pro Football Talk reports about the Dolphins, taking a swing before the Flores lawsuit came out. The Dolphins trying to take a swing at Sean Payton to be their head coach, who they would have had to acquire by trade. Tom Brady, who has since retired, we think maybe really retired, we'll find out, taking a swing at Tom Brady to be their starting quarterback. Mike Florio is still talking about Deshaun Watson to the Dolphins. But I will tell you guys, when I woke up this morning, one thing I did not have on my bingo card was Derek Jeter stepping away and leaving the Miami Marlins. Derek Jeter has been, for the last 4.5 years, the Miami Marlins CEO. He's been a minority shareholder. He is relinquishing his 4% ownership of the Miami Marlins. And as it's been pointed out, when he initially bought into the club, when he and Bruce Sherman, who owns the majority of it, bought the club from Jeffrey Loria, the investment made by Derek Jeter was $25 million of his quote-unquote his own money that he put into it. I'm sure he's gotten at least all of that back and probably then some through his CEO salary. And he leaves the Marlins high and dry. Now, my take here, and we're going to be talking in about 7 minutes. We're going to talk with Joe Frisaro, formerly MLB.com, is just awesome and all over the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Everything baseball. Joe Frisaro is my guy, and he's going to be joining us at about 3:05 p.m. today. But, guys, it seems pretty obvious to me here when Derek Jeter released this statement. Let me read an excerpt for you, okay? And by the way, completely out of left field, and I love using a baseball analogy on this. Like, when we found out late morning today, Derek Jeter, in the midst of everything going on right now with Major League Baseball, they're on their self-imposed deadline day for labor talks today. And then we get the bombshell that Derek Jeter is stepping out. I didn't see this coming from a mile away. I'll ask Joe Frisaro if he did. But Jeter released this statement. I will no longer serve as CEO nor as a shareholder in the club, he said. We had a vision 5 years ago to turn the Marlins franchise around. And as CEO, I have been proud to put my name and reputation on the line to make our plan a reality. Through hard work, trust, and accountability, we transformed every aspect of the franchise, reshaping the workforce and developing a long-term strategic plan for success. That said, the vision for the future of the franchise is different than the one I signed up to lead. Okay, so I see a lot of people saying this, that, hey, he's the CEO. I thought it was his vision. Like, what is he talking about? The vision's not aligning when he's the CEO. But guys, when I read that last line there, the vision for the future of the franchise is different than the one I signed up to lead. My initial thought was they're not going to be able to spend as much money as he was hoping and expecting. And I did see this tweet a couple of hours ago by Joel Sherman of the New York Post. Heard Jeter believed going into the lockout that there would be another 10 to 15 million that the Marlins would spend on the 2022 roster. And that strategy evaporated during the lockout. It was central to Jeter's decision to leave as CEO. Now, the $1 million question is, when Jeter walks away, does he leave the Marlins one of those gift bags that he used to leave to those, lovely actresses and models that he used to date? Did he leave Bruce Sherman with like some potpourri? I don't know what he put in those gift bags. Probably some perfume, a couple of party favors. Oh, man, I don't know what happened there. And wow, how about this from Alex M? He says, now that Jeter is gone, I'm interested in the team again. I'd love to know more about where your head is on that, bro, because it's not like we preferred the previous ownership group. I mean, Jeffrey Loria, David Sampson, are you pining for those days? I mean, are you looking back to the John Henry days, to the Wayne Huizenga, may he rest in peace, to those days? But I'm certainly not looking back fondly on the Jeffrey Loria days. And yeah, guys, be like Chris, the Finns tailgate. Hit the like, guys. So yeah, Derek Jeter, he leaves the Marlins high and dry after 4.5 years as CEO. And this is the story I wanted to dive headfirst into as we start the show today. And it's getting a lot of local coverage and a lot of national coverage. I mean, I read you a tweet from a writer from New York. I mean, obviously New York and Derek Jeter, that's always going to get some coverage. I was watching ESPN for a couple of hours. I kind of had it on as the background noise. They're mostly talking about, NFL scouting combine stuff. And, they always bring up LeBron and the Lakers. I haven't seen like that much like ESPN coverage of the Jeter stuff, but maybe when it first broke, they were probably on it. I wasn't really watching TV at that time. Wow. Alex says, I'll take anything at this point. Keep the owners and CEO rotating. Well, I mean, I don't know if you're a big Bruce Sherman fan. Now, I still remember, 5 years ago, 4.5 years ago, when the Marlins were for sale, Jorge Mas wanted it. Like the Mas family really wanted it. Before they ever thought about getting into soccer, they wanted to get into baseball. But, Major League Baseball, they chose the Sherman Jeter combo over the Mas family. Now, I will say this, it's not like Inter Miami have been some smashing success, right? I mean, the team has barely been competitive and they're already overhauling the roster. But at least I do know in the case of Jorge Mas and the Mas family, money is typically not an issue for them. Now, it's probably a little bit easier to spend, with the big boys in the MLS versus spend with the big boys in Major League Baseball because, the stakes, it's like going from the $10 blackjack table to the high roller blackjack table. Like there's a lot more money that you're able to spend on a Major League Baseball product, but at least I know that family, they are ambitious and they spare no expense. Oh, and yeah, Tony's probably right about this. Moss would have at least made the jerseys teal again. Would he though? Because it took them until season 3 to finally have a pink Inter Miami jersey, which is what everybody wanted from day one. We're like, man, pink, like Palermo, the jersey. Palermo's in like the 3rd division now in Italy. But when Palermo used to be in Serie A, everyone loved their pink jerseys. Oh, we got to get pink jerseys. And they've been, it took them 3 years, Inter Miami, to finally get the pink. So yeah, I missed the teal for sure. All right, let's bring on one of the best darn baseball writers on the planet. And we're so happy he's a part of the 5 Reasons Sports family. Joe Frisaro. Joe, thank you so much for taking some time to join me on what I imagine has turned into, and it was already busy with the labor talk.
Yeah.
Busier day now for you.
Hey, Alex, glad to be on with you, and thanks for having me. But yeah, I mean, I expected today to be do or die deadline. Does opening day start on time or not? Instead, about 11 o'clock, we get the bombshell that they parted ways. And no Derek Jeter. And, as you kind of digest it, and you were hitting on some really good points there in the start, is we can't drive this point home enough. Derek Jeter, since 2018, has been the face of the Miami Marlins. He came in, he had a vision. Remember what was the first thing he said? He preached patience. Yeah. Let's be patient. I'm going to have to break this down. We're going to build from the farm system up. We're weak in the farm system. We weren't ready to win. This was always going to be a long-range plan. Now there's a little light at the end of the tunnel, and he's gone. And where does that vision go? Because this was all his vision. His handprints are on all the business decisions, all the repairing of community trust, to try to get the community to back him, in terms of sponsorship wise, the identity, why you want to be hooked up with the Miami Marlins. And then he's so hands-on on the baseball end of it, which we kind of spend most of the time talking about. So he was everywhere. Now he's gone with, conceivably, the talk so far, labor hasn't been rosy up until this point, to save opening day. But let's say it does get done today. Within 3 days, everyone's going to Jupiter to get this thing rolling. And the leader of the franchise is not there. Now, and they're looking for a new CEO.
Yeah, and we'll get to that as well. I know that that's been something you've been tracking a little bit on social media. Now, okay, so you touched on the timing a little bit, that this is an important day for labor talks, and then at 11 a.m. this Jeter bombshell drops. Let me put my proverbial tinfoil hat on for a second. Could the issues be in any way related? I mean, I did see that tweet from a New York Post columnist about expecting a bigger budget before the lockout and less of a budget for the Marlins after. Do you think these things are related in any way?
It How could they not be?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, you could look at it from and not knowing what the conversation, why the fall about, but why today? Because technically, if this is a good day for baseball and the lockout ends, everyone's reporting the 2 days to ratify it. Everyone votes yes, and spring training's open. Literally, it could happen, the process tomorrow. You know what I mean? So something happened. And I have to believe it's more than 10 to 15 million. You know what I mean? It's like there had to be something brewing. Now, if we were talking in September and this happened and it's a bad year for the Marlins, let's say, that didn't go the way they wanted to, I'm not shocked because I believe his contract's up. And then it would be 5 years into it. Did it really go his way? What's stunning is now, right now. And that's the stunner. And again, you look at it as, Derek Jeter, who he is to baseball. He's an iconic name. He's a generational player. He's one of the most famous names. And he basically said, trust me, Miami, be patient. And, here we are. Here we are. Who's the now? Don Mattingly to me is very important, for the on-field, just holding things together. But for what Jeter represented and just like that name, his name brought players here who, I want to go play for Derek Jeter. That was always what you could hope for. Maybe we couldn't match the money with every other market, but you know what? I believe Jeter's a winner. He's going to get the winner. Players going to want to come down here. So this next hire is going to be really big on many fronts to make Miami attractive and give that name neck power that we don't have a Ronald Acuna right now in the system, that we got the young superstar. As long as he's here, we're good. We got it. We got a system, a process, right? He gave us the process. So what happened that he didn't trust the process at the last minute? When you think about it, you go something. And again, it has to be more than $10 to $15 million to spend a little bit more. Maybe they overestimated this roster. I like this roster in terms of building for more. I don't think they're there yet, but certainly pieces are there to make the Marlins very attractive for the next few years. The window's now, and the reason I say that, Alex, is their pitching is your window to win in baseball is when you're pitching. It's like the NFL. Yeah. I got a franchise quarterback, that's my window to win. You got starting pitching that can take you to the playoffs, that's your window to win. And it's there or it's a year away. And now Jeter's gone. And so he doesn't identify as an owner so much. Here's a guy who always was a player, with a player's player, and these labor talks have been so ugly. That's one of my little theories, throw it out there, that maybe he just wasn't identifying with the suits and all that involved in the cutthroat business aspect of just pro sports, not just Major League Baseball. And did he identify much there at the expense of, was he not liking where it was going? But I definitely don't think he'll be out of baseball very long. And I wouldn't be shocked if he's with the Yankees in some capacity in the near future.
Yeah, that was definitely an immediate thought as well. We're joined here by Joe Frisaro. He is the founder of Man on Second Baseball, which is a partner here of us on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. So, okay, when I was looking through Twitter reaction, and some of these were hardcore Marlins fans, some were just South Florida sports fans taking pot shots, but I'm looking at social media reaction to this Jeter news, and it's like I see a lot of people reacting as if this is, it was very abrupt, but like using words like betrayal or, oh man, Jeter just decided he couldn't hack it. He's been doing this for about 4.5 years, Joe. Yeah. Do you think you're going to look back on Derek Jeter's time here as a success?
Maybe the legacy, if Alcantara and a few of these got Jazz, if they give this market a winner, like a serious playoff run, World Series caliber team in 3 years, and those players are there, you could kind of link it back there. But really, are you going to be, who's the coach who won with that guy's players?
Yeah.
You won with Jimmy Johnson's players. You won with Dennis Erickson's players. It's like, is it going to be that? I'm not so sure. Right now, you can't say it's a success because it's an unfinished chapter. The book's not written, and you would like to have seen it work out that at least he completes the contract. If it doesn't work this year, and they got to kind of still stay in that build mode, whatever. But I don't know how you could say it's a success when he's out the door literally, potentially the day before camp opens.
So the Marlins now looking for a new CEO, and obviously you can't just replace Derek Jeter, at least not easily, with the sort of, the face and the image and the gravitas that he brings. So how do you think that they look at this search, Joe? Do they try to find like another figurehead type, or do they give like more responsibilities to Kim Ang and others in the organization, or do they really want someone to try and fill the shoes that Jeter was filling?
Yeah, this important to note. At least on an interim basis, Kim Ang, the GM, is overall baseball. She's now the final voice in the baseball decisions. And Caroline O'Connor is the CEO, and she's kind of running the business end of it. And they're both immensely qualified, and they're in good hands to have these two ladies handling this. So that end of it is there. But to answer your question is, yes, what's the identity of the Miami Marlins moving forward? It's either going to have to be Kim brings in a bunch of her Dodger ties, just how she run the Yankee ties, or, where it's kind of like that LA look now. Is it more an analytical look? Whatever the identity she puts in could be the baseball side. You're not going to get the front person. This is, Mick Jagger as the front man for the Stones. You're not, Derek Jeter had put himself there, and, they can't, I don't see who's out there.
Right.
That would do that. So what you're going to do is probably going to get just a really smart person that can handle business operations with enough baseball knowledge to just kind of, I would think, more be out in the background, and just somebody that's putting the pieces in place, the players in place to build this and complete the job. But, you can look at it two ways. You got the Rays, for instance, which, are a analytical and a shrewdly operated team, but Eric Neander, he runs that stuff. People don't know who he is. These are all kind of behind the curtain people. The Marlins in Miami reacts well to that really good front face person. You got Pat Riley, you got
David Beckham.
And the Marlins were moving that way when they traded Stanton, but they had Jeter. Everyone knows Derek Jeter. Why people in California care about the Marlins? Oh, Derek Jeter's there.
Right.
So are we going to have that? I don't know if there's that white knight, out there that is just so charismatic that just brings, like you said, that gravitas that could come in and fill that. So I have to think they're going to be more of just a very efficiently run, or strive to be, meaning spend our dollars wisely, have a really good plan. We're going to have our process being whatever it is. But make no mistake, yes, it's baseball. It's not like you're putting an offensive system. It's not like the Dolphins changing to McDaniel's system, and is how much different that can be. That's a complete overhaul. You need personnel. Baseball, you still go out there and play. Obviously, you swing and you pitch and you hit, but you still have to have what type of team you want to be. What do you want to look like? Are we going to be speed oriented? Are we going to be defense? Are we pitching first? How are we building to the ballpark? Are we building to the analytics? Are we buying into the launch angle? What you got to pick something. The Rays know what they are, and that's all the way from their lower levels to the big leagues. And if you notice, the Rays, I think, won out of 4 minor league teams. They went to like 3 finals and won 2 of them.
Wow.
And they're freaking loaded, and they're going to be good for a long time. But what is the Marlins going to look like?
Well, this is great.
That's where the vision. That's where the vision's going to come in. Is it Kim's vision? Does she convince Bruce Sherman and the rest of the ownership group she has the vision, to lead this in a direction? I'm not saying she can or doesn't, but second year GM, and we're coming off of a very volatile labor thing where everyone's got to digest whenever this is ratified what it looks like and how to exploit it to the best of your ability. So it's wild right now, Alex. I can't. I mean, this is up there. I've had a lot of stunners in 20 years on this beat, and this is way up there because of, yes, it's more than just Derek Jeter's gone. Now what? Okay, well, there's a lot of now what's that before. It's going to be really interesting how they navigate through this.
And you talked about the labor talks. I mean, even beyond this Jeter stuff, there are even bigger things happening right now in Major League Baseball. And yeah, it's been a couple of hours since I was looking through some of the headlines with the labor talks. Wasn't really painting a rosy picture. So, what's the latest, Joe? Do you think we come out of today with any sort of a deal, or will the season be shortened?
Oh boy, I mean, I'm a believer that deals do to get done at deadline, and normally rational negotiations tend to have that happen because you tend to realize there's the cliff, who wants to jump first, and this has been so, and this lost me going back to 2020 during the pandemic, and they were like, okay, you can play baseball, and we still couldn't figure out how to play baseball without making it really ugly mudslinging during the heat of a pandemic, when in the summer of 2020 we didn't know what was going on, if what tomorrow's going to look like, and they couldn't figure out how to get on the baseball field. Now 2 years later, here we are, and they can't figure out how to get in the baseball field. It's very troubling, and if they do miss games, it's really going to be bad. And it'll be less bad in New York, which has all the history of it. We're in Miami. We're a hard sell anyway. And you turn any of the fans off here, they can't afford to turn anybody off from here. So yes, could they miss games? Absolutely. Could there be a 150-game season? Yes, absolutely. But I'm hopeful that before the end of the day, that all the mud and all the stuff that was coming out in the morning, the gloom and doom, I'm hoping that there's a realization that there's a lot more at stake than people might realize.
Really good stuff here from Joe Frisaro. Let people know what sort of coverage they can find and expect this week, because I know I'm sure you guys are already working around the clock at Man on Second Baseball.
Yeah, I mean, Alex, we weren't going to do. I was wanting, my ideal off season was going to be two shows a week, at least. And then once this thing got ratified, we could do whenever I want, basically. If there's something there, and then just really grow this as part of this really good 5 Reasons Sports channel as well. And the second they ratify it and get it done, we're going to be hitting the ground running, and it's going to be a lot. And then obviously you follow me on the @ManOn2ND Twitter account, as well as my name, my traditional @Joe Frisaro, and everything is going through 5 Reasons. So we're ready to roll. We just want a team to roll and a league to roll with. I mean, we'll go the college route, we'll do the minor leaguers, and we'll do the prospects. We'll keep it going, but in earnest, they get this thing going. We're going 3-4 times a week. I'll be doing 5 minutes at a time if I have to on certain days, and we're going to make this thing fun and really put our stamp on baseball on this channel, and do our best to really give the baseball fan a really good outlet to find baseball, real good quality. The guests are going to be off the charts. I'm already getting good guests, and that'll only continue. It's just a matter of. So to answer your question, if they want to play ball, I'm ready to play ball as fast as they do. And so we're looking forward to a really fun ride. We just want that ride to happen sooner than later.
I love it. Me too. Joe, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your day, and try to get some sleep this week, maybe.
All right, buddy. Thanks anytime, Alex. Take care.
I love it. And a couple people said it in the chat. Like Joey's the man, right? And listen, man, I haven't talked a whole lot about the labor talks in recent weeks because it's just depressing to me. It's like play or don't play, okay? And then this Jeter thing happens, and oh my God, Twitter timeline is exploding. And I knew we had to talk about it. I'm so glad we have access to someone like Joe, who he and Man on Second are great partners here at the 5 Reasons Sports Network. I want to get into some of the Dolphins rumors that are swirling, mostly based from ProFootballTalk.com and Mike Florio. I'm going to be calling bullshit on most of this. Spoiler alert, I think most of this stuff is either BS or borderline BS. Alfredo Arteaga is going to be joining us, I think, any minute here. So, guys, I want to remind you that every single episode here of Donno Daily is served by our official sports bar, the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. Oh, man, I was at the Quarterdeck late last week, and I built my own poke bowl, fresh tuna, avocado, some rice, spicy ponzu sauce. It was so good. The seafood is so fresh at the quarter deck. It's a great spot as well for sandwiches and burgers, baby back ribs. The key lime cheesecake is the best dessert on the planet. The buffalo shrimp that they have at the quarter deck, get them spicy. If you're a real man, you get them spicy. That's probably the best appetizer on the planet. They have so many great options at the quarter deck. They've got 2-for-1 happy hour all day, every day. It's a great place to wet your whistle. And, whether if you consider happy hour to be Friday afternoon or even Monday afternoon, you can get on down there because the happy hour never ends. They've got 2-for-1 drinks always flowing at the quarter deck, and they have ice cold beer, my friends. Oh, this is your spot. You can watch every big game out there. The Heat are playing, the Panthers are playing, no problem. They have it at the quarter deck on the TVs, flat screen, high def, covering every wall. And hot tip for the fight fans, they have every UFC pay-per-view fight for zero cover charge. You pay nothing at the door at the quarter deck. How good is that? So if you want to find the location nearest to you or peep that menu before you go out there, check them out online at quarterdeckrestaurants.com. The quarter deck, come for the food, stay for the fun. Oh, and yes, we have an official sports book on Donno Daily. Guys, this is America's favorite sports book, a full-service online sports book. And yes, they are available in Florida. Yes, you could use the full site in Florida. BetUS.com, the 3-decade leader. Live betting on everything. If they ever decide to play baseball, you can bet on the games at BetUS.com. You can bet on the NBA games, the NHL games, international soccer, which basically happens every single day. One-stop shopping for all of that. Plus, BetUS.com has a full casino right there on the website. You can play blackjack for real money, table games, slot games. It's like having Las Vegas in your pocket. And if you sign up with our code, please use our code because we get credit for the sign up when you use our code. Plus, you guys get a sweet bonus. So we both win. 5RSN125. Type in this promo code when you make your first deposit. 5RSN125. And they're going to give you a 125% sign up bonus. You're not going to find a bonus like that anywhere else in the betting industry, I guarantee you. If you deposit $100, for example, just choosing a nice round number, you can deposit more than that if you want. But you deposit $100, they're going to give you $125 in free play money on top of your deposit. How good is that, man? You could probably get through your first couple of, depending on how high of a roller you are, you can get through your first couple of days, your first weekend, your first week, just using free play money only. It is such a great deal. You bet, you win, you get paid. BetUS.com. Oh, yeah. And Alex M., we will absolutely be talking about that this week. Masvidal versus Covington. And yeah, you can watch it at the quarter deck for no cover charge. Oh, our guy Ricky J. Mark is in. Ricky says, today's a big Miami sports day, Donno. The lobby will not be disturbed. I pledge peace at the gates. Thank you so much, Ricky. Well, you know what? We're waiting on Alfredo Arteaga. He hasn't stopped in yet. I hope Alfredo's okay. He might be getting bombarded with stuff out there. So I want to read this and react to it from ProFootballTalk.com's Mike Florio. So Fantasyland is going crazy. Hypothetical. Dolphin fans, we keep getting these hypotheticals flying at us from every angle. Now, at least one of these things is not happening anytime soon. I don't think the other of these things will happen either. But according to Mike Florio of ProFootballTalk.com, he says the Miami Dolphins are moving forward, as we know, with Mike McDaniel as the head coach for now, Tua Tagovailoa as the starting quarterback. At one point after the end of the 2021 season, he writes, however, the Dolphins explored a different approach, he said, per multiple sources. And I'm seriously, I respect what Mike Florio does. His website, I'm not going to lie and say I don't use it. I'm on his website every day, right? I mean, football news headlines drop. Pro Football Talk usually has it before anyone else, and they break it down in a very concise manner. So I appreciate the service that Mike Florio provides. At the same time, his Dolphin sources are way out there, man. I can't remember the last time he reported something big about the Dolphins and it turned out to be right. I mean, he's been way out left field with the Dolphins. So he says, per multiple sources, and is first revealed on Mondays, that's today's Pro Football Talk Live, the Dolphins planned, past tense, planned to pursue Sean Payton to be the coach and Tom Brady to be the starting quarterback. The plan was scrapped after Brian Flores filed his lawsuit against the NFL generally and the Dolphins, Giants, and Broncos specifically. On the record, the Dolphins declined comment. He said, team sources who requested anonymity due to the sensitivity of the issues confirmed that the team contacted the Saints to seek permission to speak to Payton. And I could believe that. Like, I honestly can believe that, that the Dolphins would, because, you had, however long ago it was, 6-7 weeks ago, when we found out that Payton was stepping away, like taking some time and resigning as coach of the Saints. At that point, I think not just the Dolphins, I'm sure a number of teams said, I've got to inquire about his availability. Because remember, you can trade for coaches. People forget that. When John Gruden landed in Tampa and he ultimately did win a Super Bowl there, they gave up a ton of draft picks. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they sent draft picks, like high draft picks to the Oakland Raiders at that point to acquire John Gruden. You can trade for coaches, and you find out Sean Payton may be available. I think you do your due diligence and you inquire about that. The Saints, per Dolphin sources, declined the request, which they contend was made after Payton resigned on Tuesday, January 25th. Okay, so not even as long ago as I thought, a little over a month ago, but before Flores filed his lawsuit 1 week later. By rule, the Dolphins first would have had to reach an agreement with the Saints as to potential compensation for hiring Payton. Once an agreement had been reached, the Dolphins then would have had to work out an agreement directly with Sean Payton. So all of that tells me they weren't close. So the headline, powerful, right? The headline is like a stiff breeze. Like you're like one of those weather reporters when a hurricane is coming in and they've got the whole raincoat on and they're like standing in the wind, like, oh my God, it's coming in. It's so windy out here. Like it hits you like a stiff breeze. That headline about Sean Payton, and then we'll get to the Tom Brady thing after. So, okay, Sean Payton becomes quote unquote available, or at least no longer the Saints head coach on January 25th. The Dolphins were in a coaching search. Why wouldn't you contact the club to inquire about acquiring him? But the Saints said, no, we're not interested in talking about compensation. That's where it ends. It's really not that much of a story. A team looking for a coach did their due diligence on a great coach who became available, and it didn't advance any further than that. So, all right, not that big of a deal to me. As to Tom Brady, he writes, Dolphins sources contend that internal discussions occurred regarding the possibility of adding Brady as a minority owner. That we already knew about, right? That report came out a while back that they were talking about Brady to become an owner. And you know what? With Derek Jeter out of town, we need a guy like Brady. Derek Jeter doesn't want to be part owner of the Marlins anymore. Let's get Tom Brady's ass down here to become part owner of the Dolphins. We can replace one of the most iconic baseball players of all time with the most iconic football player of all time. I would love that. But they say, those considerations are currently on hold. The delay, per Dolphin sources, has nothing to do with the Flores lawsuit. It's more about the uncertain status of Brady's retirement from playing. Once it's clear he's not coming back to play for the Buccaneers or some other team, the plan for selling a piece of the team to Brady could proceed. Rumors have persisted for 2 years regarding Brady's playing potential and involvement with the Dolphins, either as a player or as a partial owner. So this is the part of this report that I don't really like. It's like, I think Florio's just trying to make something out of, like, he's trying to make a mountain out of a molehill. Because I think we all knew, he wasn't the first to report that they were interested in selling a piece of the Dolphins to Brady. And also it's worth noting that the heir apparent to Stephen Ross, Bruce Beal, the guy that he has the plan to sell the team to, Bruce Beal has the option to buy the team if he wants to. And I think he wants to. Bruce Beal, Boston guy, and he and Brady are tight. So it would make sense that if Bruce Beal is maybe a few years away, or maybe sooner than that, if Stephen Ross is forced out, if Bruce Beal is like a year, 2-3 years away from buying the Dolphins, he would like to have his buddy, Tommy Brady, owning a piece of that. So the connection arises, he mentions, like I said, with Brady's friendship with Bruce Beal, a significant limited partner who is poised to eventually purchase the team from Stephen Ross. Indeed, as Brady approached free agency in 2020, the Patriots were very concerned that Brady would join the Dolphins as a player, with partial ownership on the table. That was before Brian Flores screwed it up. That was the yacht meeting. The yacht meeting that Mr. Ross tried to have Brian Flores to take, and Flo said, no, how dare you, Flo? It's unclear whether and to what extent either Payton or Brady were actually aware of the plan to pursue them. So that's another thing. Again, they kicked your ass with the headline that the Dolphins plan to pursue Sean Payton and Tom Brady. They kicked your ass with the headline. And then as far as it got with Sean Payton was the Dolphins called the Saints and said, hey, you guys have any interest in trading him to us? Nope. They hung up. And then the Brady thing, yeah, they'd like to sell part of the team to Brady. We already knew that. They tried to get Brady to play here 2 years ago. We've come to find that out, the whole boat thing. And apparently it's unclear whether Payton or Brady even knew. Well, I think Brady knew because the whole yacht thing. But Sean Payton, maybe he didn't even know how interested the Dolphins were. But Florio writes, it's hard to imagine that the Dolphins would have made a blind request for permission to pursue Payton without Payton being interested. As to Brady, the fact that he's reportedly and indeed is the unnamed quarterback with whom Ross allegedly tried to get Flores to tamper in 2020 makes another run at Brady not a ludicrous thought, especially since the Dolphins have put together a team that has finished 2 straight seasons above 500, but with no playoff appearances. Brady remains on the Tampa Bay roster, and he'll stay there until June 22nd at the earliest. Any move made before then would trigger a $32 million cap charge in 2022 for the Buccaneers. After June 2nd, a retirement or a trade would push the bulk of the cap charge to 2023. Although Brady has said he's done playing, few believe it. I actually believe it. Am I crazy for believing that? Whether it's with the Buccaneers or someone else, he could return as soon as 2022. That could happen with the Dolphins, depending on whether the Dolphins make some other move at quarterback between now and then. Until the Dolphins acquire a new quarterback, their top option will continue to be Tonga Vailoa. You could tell Mike Florio loves Tua, right? He's like, until the Dolphins acquire a new quarterback, their top option will continue to be Tua. So Tua is the quarterback right up until the time that he isn't. And so again, I'm calling BS on all this. And it's, I'm not saying that everything that I just read is fabricated. I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's clickbait. Like I'm saying that it's sleight of hand. It's misdirectional. Oh, by the way, I got a message a few minutes ago from Alfredo. He's running late. He's going to join us in a few minutes. And I'm writing back, no problem. I also wanted to bring up, got to give me a second to share the screen here. No Manny today, so I'm running things by myself. Manny, I think his birthday, is tomorrow. I want to say he's a March 1st birthday, Manny Chang, our producer, and he's out for a few days in Disney World. So he is enjoying, that's where he wanted to go for his birthday. I love Disney World, and I've got a wife who loves Disney World, a 4-year-old son who loves Disney World. So that is where Manny wanted to spend the birthday this year. All right, so hold on. I put out this poll. Make sure you guys can see it on the screen. There it is. In light of these rumors, these hypotheticals, how much better off would the Dolphins be for the near future with Sean Payton as head coach instead of Mike McDaniel and Tom Brady as quarterback instead of Tua? The 4 choices: way better off, slight, moderately better off, about the same, or no, better with McDaniel and Tua. And not surprisingly, and I think the voting is closed now, way better off won with 47.7% of the vote. Then after that was slightly to moderately better at 22.9%, better with McDaniel and Tua at 18.3%, the Kool-Aid drinkers out there, or about the same at 11%. Now, the coaching comparison, I think, is a little bit tougher because Mike McDaniel is a lot more of a dice roll. I like everything Mike McDaniel stands for. I like everything he said so far. I love his offensive philosophy. I love his track record. But obviously, when you're talking about a first-time head coach, it's a dice roll. I do think he's put together a really good staff. So there's that. I mean, that was one of the concerns, not really a doubt, but one of the concerns that I had when you hire a first-time head coach, which the Dolphins have done so many times. The previous first-time head coach they hired was not good at putting a staff together, talking about Flo. Mike McDaniel's already doing a better job surrounding himself with coaching talent, at least on paper, than Brian Flores did. So he's checking off that box. But, Sean Payton is a proven commodity. Sean Payton is also an offensive guy. And, Sean Payton has been for the last decade and a half, for most of the last decade and a half, with a quarterback who, arm strength wise, kind of similar to the quarterback the Dolphins have right now. I'm not saying that Tua and Drew Brees are the same. Obviously, I would take Drew Brees' career over anything that Tua has done so far, but I think that the offensive philosophy that worked for Brees could potentially work for Tua. But I feel the same way about Mike McDaniel's offensive philosophy. But then you talk about the hypothetical, would you rather have Tom Brady instead of Tua Tagovailoa? I think if you don't say Brady, you should probably be drug tested. I'm talking about the short term. Obviously, Brady he's older than dirt, right? 44, 45 years old. So, yeah, you're giving yourself a very limited window. You've already got a defense that I believe is capable of being a championship level defense. If you were to add a proven championship level quarterback, you would still need to make upgrades other parts of the offense. Like, you would still need to upgrade the offensive line. You would need to upgrade the running game. You would need to upgrade the offensive philosophy, period. But yeah, I would kind of lean to, since there are other holes to fill. I think if I could have voted on my own poll and I couldn't, I probably would have voted somewhere between slightly moderately better to way better off. But this is Fantasyland talk, and let's bring in a man who primarily lives in reality, and that is Alfredo Arteaga from 3 Yards Per Carry. Now, Alf, in seeing some of the reports that Florio has thrown out there, ProFootballTalk.com, I'm calling BS on a lot of it. It's clickbait, right? Because he tells this story about Sean Payton, which is basically team who has a coaching vacancy contacted team who has a very good coach about a trade. They said no, and that's it. And then the Brady thing, basically telling us a bunch of stuff we already knew. They did the tampering thing allegedly a couple of years ago. We heard about that. They're interested in Brady maybe buying a piece of the team. We'd heard about that. And also the Florio report was kind of unclear as to whether or not they were really looking at Brady to be a quarterback or be a part owner. So I think this is ruffling the feathers of a lot of Dolphin fans for nothing. I don't think there's anything substantive there.
Yeah, and I'm reporting that Alfredo Arteaga needed a car somewhere around October, and he contacted Ferrari, and Ferrari said that no, you can't have one, so therefore I did not get a Ferrari. But I'm reporting I absolutely did have interest in owning a Ferrari in November. This report is pretty stupid, right?
Yeah, it is.
The headline's good. Like,
it's a great headline.
Yeah,
I clicked on it from every device. I'm like, wow, this is such a good this is such good clickbait. I need to click on it from my phone, from my iPad, from my computer.
Yeah, it's spectacular. Then you read it and it's like, oh yeah, okay, they don't have a coach, right? So I would hope that they will place a call, right? To, hey, Sean Payton's out there, right?
Yeah.
Like, I would hope that they would at least explore it, right?
Yeah.
Well, I guess they did, right? And the Saints told them, no, he's under contract, and if you want him, you're gonna pay through the nose. And in fact, we're not even giving you the rights to speak to him. Okay, that's fine. And then the Brady leap, the Tom Brady leap, everybody knows, and it's been going on for about 2 years. And it's in the lawsuit, okay, that they tried to get Brian Flores to leave all his dignity behind and tamper with one of the greatest quarterbacks in the history of the sport. So we know that, right? And we also know that he's going to buy a piece of the team eventually.
Right.
So they make a giant leap that, Tom Brady might buy a piece of the team. Oh, and guess what? If he buys a piece of the team, he's just going to come down from retirement. And although he's under contract, people, like, I don't know if Mike Florio understands that if Tom Brady bought the Dolphins tomorrow, he can't actually step onto the field.
Yeah,
the Buccaneers own his rights, so that would have to be resolved as well. Yeah. So it's dumb report, but hey, a lot of clicks.
Well, and that wasn't even like that wasn't even all the Florio clicks that were Dolphins related over the past few days, because he's still talking about the Dolphins making another run at Deshaun Watson. And like, okay, people know this who have watched me and followed me on Twitter. Like I really thought before November, I really thought they were going to make a run, and they did, by all accounts, make a run. I guess maybe I underestimated just how longer the legal complications would stay around. But like at this point, Alf, okay, so obviously you can look at it. I think this is an easy reach for Florio to make because about 3 months ago, they were literally, a few, in Stephen Ross's mind, a few legal settlements away from making the move. So I guess it's easier for Florio to say they can make another run. But at the same time, at this point, why would I even believe in the next couple of months he's got that legal situation sorted out? Because it seems like it's getting, we're off to the races. It seems like it's getting only more complicated with the criminal charges not going away and the grand jury stuff that's happening. It's getting more complicated, not less complicated. At this point, I don't even think Deshaun Watson plays anywhere next year. Not the Dolphins, not the Texans. I don't even know if he'll see the field for at least another season.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. That was another one. Yeah, sure. Okay, he was close. Yeah, as close as you can get to settling 22 civil cases inside of 24 hours. Okay, which I thought was, one of those ridiculous asks.
Yeah.
Okay, and I thought Stephen Ross kind of like, by making that ridiculous ask, kind of, put a kibosh on the whole thing. Now, I'm told, and I've said this before, if there was a time where Deshaun Watson was going to get traded, it was pre-draft last year. I think he was actually really close to being traded. And I was told that the Carolina Panthers had a legitimate offer that was rejected at the last second. And the Dolphins came away from that whole sequence thinking, you know what, these guys really don't want to trade Deshaun Watson. Because the goalposts kept moving. And then all of a sudden you heard, oh, it's 3 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks.
Yeah.
When we were hearing that he was probably going to go for, fire sale prices around the draft. So, I don't know. I don't think he's going to play anywhere. It's going to take one team somewhere to just cough up the 2 first-round picks and be done with it. But, he's already met in front of the grand jury. There's no traction on any of those things. Doesn't look like it's going to be settled anytime soon. So it's probably going to be another lost year for Deshaun Watson.
Alex M says, is Watson vaxxed? Imagine like he gets through the legal stuff and then he ends up in like an Aaron Rodgers situation.
Something.
Oh my God, that's
he's
crazy.
Not Russian, is he? Because that could be even a third impediment, right?
That could be it. But by the way, did you see the? And obviously, I just my heart is out to everyone in Ukraine, and I got to tell you, man, I am so impressed with the way they are fighting and defending themselves. And I'm a big sports fan, and Alfredo and I are both big combat sports fans. You see all the Ukrainian boxers, including Vitaly Klitschko, who's the mayor of Kyiv. That he is like he's out there like literally fighting, and Vladimir Klitschko is out there with him, and there are other Ukrainian boxers. I mean, they're just the freaking heart of those people out there, and keep fighting like hell, man. Give Vladimir Putin hell. And what was I was going to clunkily segue into something. I can't even remember where I wanted to go from here. Oh yeah, we got scouting combine this week, Alf. I don't know how much of a chance you've been able to put study into some of these prospects. Now, I do think, in my opinion, there are several areas of need they could look at with the 29th pick and in the second round as well. Obviously, needs like wide receiver, offensive line, running back really stand out to me. Is there a specific position you think should be addressed on the first day, and any prospects that are standing out to you?
Well, it's not. It's going to be cliche after a while, but everybody keeps repeating it, and I think it's absolutely 100% true. Offensive linemen are going to have to run in this system. They're going to have to be athletic in this system. So you want to look at guards and tackles, and I don't know that they're really going to put a high priority in finding starters through the draft, because I do believe that they're going to spend big come March 16th. I believe they'll have at least two starters on the offensive line through free agency come March 16th. But I would still put an eye out there. Look for tackles that can run, that are rangy, not necessarily big mammoth, people movers, but you're talking about prototypical 6'4", 6'5", 310 pounds, guys that can move a little bit. look for those guys. And of course, the centers, look for, and Tyler Linderbaum is a guy that everybody's going to want to see. So the centers and interior linemen that can move, that can run, that's what you want to see come this week. I believe the combine starts tomorrow, but I believe I don't know if they're televising all of it or they're starting to televise. They're going to start to televise it on March 3rd. But either way, just check it out on NFL Network. That's what you're looking for. That's what's important.
Yeah.
And of course on defense, they need a middle linebacker. There's no doubt about that. They're one linebacker short. Their depth is short. So if they have a problem, quote unquote problem on the defensive end, they gotta do some work on the linebacker core because they really don't have much there right now.
Now, let me ask you about what started, at least in my opinion, rumors I started seeing early last week, and somebody who's a person I trust told me, like, hey, this could actually happen. It's really been reported at a substantive level, including Barry Jackson over the weekend. Actually, the Miami Hurricanes, not the Miami Dolphins, are looking at Mario Cristobal bringing Jason Taylor onto his staff. Now, even if it was only like an analyst role and not like a regular on-field coaching role, I would be all for this. And you look at, and both staffs, because Mike McDaniel is doing great things with the Dolphins, and the feel-good stories of bringing Madison and Surtain back to the facility, I freaking love it. And then if the Hurricanes bring Jason Taylor on, have you heard anything about that possibility, Alf? Do you think that's going to happen?
Oh, it's out there. It's out there, and I would say it's going to happen, and it's a coup. It's a coup for the University of Miami if it happens, because Jason Taylor is really plugged in with St. Thomas Aquinas, and St. Thomas Aquinas produces 7 Division I athletes every single year. Okay, they've had years where they've produced as many as 15 to 18 Division I athletes. Okay, including several top 100 prospects. So you want a guy there, right? You want a guy there, like you get Jason Taylor on board, and it makes sense. His kid is no longer there, right? I think he just graduated, so it makes perfect sense, and that's a nice little pipeline. I'm pretty sure he still has connections at St. Thomas Aquinas. I don't know if you've ever been to that school, but
I never have. I've heard it. I know a couple people who are like connected with that program, and the descriptions are incredible.
Like you expect something different when you get there, but when you show up, you're like, okay, this is like a run of the mill, campy little high school. But then you see the talent, and you see the people that are out there watching that talent, and you realize, you know what, we got to have somebody there. And better than Jason Taylor? I don't think you can do any better than that.
Absolutely.
And I remember. Do you remember the last time St. Thomas Aquinas sent one of the top prospects back to the University of Miami?
Yeah, I was going to interject with that a little bit ago, that usually the St. Thomas players are usually rejecting Miami, and they're going off to the Bamas and the Ohio States of the world. So it'd be nice to reestablish that pipeline for sure. It's been a long time.
And I don't understand how that works, but I remember watching Nick Bosa, in practice, and having a scout, an NFL scout, stand next to me telling me, "You see him? He's going to be better than Joey Bosa." And I'm like, really?
Wow. Yeah.
And he's like, he's a freshman, but he's going to Ohio State. And I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute. You know that already? And he's a he's a freshman.
It's like 15.
He's like, yeah. He's headed to Ohio State. Trust me when I tell you.
Oh my God.
So I don't know. I don't know how they do it, but it'd be nice if University of Miami can get some of these guys now.
It would be. It really would be. Any reaction on the way out here to Derek Jeter? I mean, it sounds to me, we did have Joe Frisaro on earlier, and I encourage anyone, if you're just popping into the stream now, and I know I did have Jeter in the title of this episode, so if you popped in late, you're like, why is he talking about football? I want to talk some baseball. People don't usually say that, but you might be saying that today. You want to rewatch the earlier part of the episode, because we had basically the first 20, 25 minutes of the episode were about Jeter. This took me by complete shock, and Joe Frisaro was also shocked by it. So even a guy who follows the team way closer than I do was shocked by it. And it sounds to me like Jeter was expecting Sherman and company to be willing and able to spend a lot more money on the roster than reality with this lockout stuff. And to me, I think it must have come over investment and spending.
Yeah, the Jeter era, here in Miami. What was the average losses per season? It was like what 96 or something like that.
Hold on, I got his record here. So during his 4 seasons, and I'm with percentages. Just don't ask me to compute things quickly, but I can tell you the record during the Jeter era: 218 and 327. The only winning record they had was the very short pandemic year where they went 31 and 29. In the 3 full seasons, the Marlins went 63 and 98, 57 and 105, and 67 and 95. So yeah, about 60, 62 wins on average. Yeah.
Well, let's do a little bit of math here, right? He bought in with about $25 million of his own money, right?
Mm-hmm.
He got paid a $5 million salary per year. He's been here for 4 years, so he's recouped 20 million of the 25 million he bought in for, right?
Yeah.
His 25 million bought him 4% of the franchise. The franchise has appreciated from the point where he bought it to 1.125 billion, which means that his $25 million investment has increased to 45 million. But he already recouped 20 million, so he's 5 in the black, but he's getting 45 back.
Wow.
He's made $40 million.
Wow. Oh, and then I just lost Alfredo. I was about to officially. Are we shadow banned? Is this a globalist agenda here? Oh, listen, globalists. I don't know what's going on out there, but the Illuminati, the elites, maybe they think we're working for Putin. They cut off our internet. Can you guys still see me? Because I see Alf is like loading. I'm looking at the screen. I can still see myself, but I cannot see Alfredo. So I don't know if this is on my end or on his end. I'm going to close him off the screen until something happens there. But that was incredible math. Honestly, we've spoken to Alfredo virtually every week that we've done this show going back to July. He's dropped some impressive football knowledge on me. That math that he just dropped there, probably the most incredible thing I've ever seen him do. I can't do, and he wasn't looking at a calculator. I have enough trouble doing computations, with like a graphing calculator. And that was one of the things when I took, I was actually a business major at the University of Miami. I got my undergraduate bachelor's degree in business management. I had to take a lot of semi-high level math classes. I had to take 2 semesters of statistics. I had to take pretty advanced calculus. I had to take finance. I had to take economics. There was math involved in all of that. And, they used to, like, you could even use a graphing calculator while you took your exam, right? So you're probably thinking, oh, well, that's so easy. Like they give you got the problems, the equations, you punch it into the calculator, you get your answer. Probably should have been easy. Wasn't easy for me. It wasn't. There were different things. I couldn't even use the calculator well enough. I think in the 2 semesters of statistics that I took, this is pretty high level statistics. Again, I was a business major. I think I got like I don't know, C minus, or no, not a C minus, like a C plus one semester, maybe a B minus the other semester. But I struggled, man. I struggled. So yeah, people tell me that my picture stayed. It was Alf's who didn't. And good news, I was about to say goodbye to Alf anyway. But I do want to remind you, because I normally ask Alf to promote it, but since he got shadow banned somehow, he's been silenced. Oh wait, he's back. Yeah, I thought, Alf, maybe you were broadcasting live from Kiev, like you might have been like in Ukraine, and Putin was out the door cutting your internet wire.
Yeah, the globalists and the Russians, they've gone way too far.
They got way too far.
Notice that they cut me off as soon as I exposed Derek Jeter, right?
Exactly. And listen, I didn't have a whole lot left for you, but I'm glad you're back because I want to give you a chance to promote 3 yards per carry, like when you guys are dropping an episode this week and where people can find it.
Yeah, we should be back this week, Wednesday or Thursday. It's a brand new season. Obviously, we're going to be talking about the combine, and we're going to start ramping up our free agency talk. March 16th, everything kicks off. So we will have all of that stuff. And yeah, Alex M, 40 million. So wow. Yeah, Stanton is basically what we gave Derek Jeter.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Jeez. Well, good stuff, Alfredo. Enjoy the rest of your week. We'll talk to you next week.
All right. Thank you, Donno.
I love it. Incredible. Even when the globalists tried to cut him off. But no, it's funny because so much has been happening throughout the day today and even late last night. Because Manny Chang typically he makes like the episode studio for me. Like he'll write out the title, he'll put out all the information onto YouTube, and I usually give it to him like I don't know, day of the show, late morning, mid morning, sometime around like 9, 10, 11 a.m. He gets the show ready by 3, but I knew he's going to be, in Magic Kingdom or whatever he's doing today in Disney World. So I sent him the show title and description late last night. And I thought the show today was going to be primarily about Jason Taylor potentially taking a job under Mario Cristobal at Miami at the U. And then you started to get more, I think it was early this morning when the Mike Florio reports came out about, the Dolphins taking a swing and a miss at Sean Payton and a swing and a miss on Tom Brady, and everybody's talking about that. And then around 11 a.m., the Derek Jeter stuff dropped. So I had to go into the 5 Reasons Sports YouTube page myself and change the title and the picture of the episode because it's like the Jeter thing happens, all this Dolphin stuff. I got to talk about all that. So, yeah, if there's anything messed up, because I know that sometimes when people look at the links that I posted on like Facebook and Twitter for the episode, it still had the old title about Jason Taylor and not the new title, why Jeter quit on the Marlins. And it's because I don't think YouTube likes it when you make a title and then you change it later. Like sometimes the links still show you the old title. It's a whole mess, man. So I appreciate everybody hopping in, but I got to tell you, and we talked about this, I think last Tuesday when I came back from my trip. That was my first day back after a while. I had spoken to somebody Tuesday morning before we did the episode Tuesday afternoon who told me, like, hey, there's buzz. And this is somebody that I trust who's got his ear to the grindstone with this stuff, that there's a lot of buzz that Jason Taylor could join the Miami Hurricanes coaching staff. And when he said it, I corrected him like, oh, you mean the Miami Dolphins staff? No, the Miami Hurricanes staff. And that was the first I was hearing of it was about 6 days ago. And then I started to see kind of churning up. People were talking about it. I know my guy, Gary Furman at canesport.com has been all over it for, about the past, close to the past week or so. Then Barry Jackson mentions it in a column he wrote over the weekend. And I think it would be incredible. And like you think about it, and I got the Jim Kelly throwback, one of the jerseys I have hanging behind me. What company I put Gus Frerotte? I put Gus Frerotte in the same company with Pro Football Hall of Famer Jim Kelly. I feel like we should get Gus Frerotte on the show. I wonder what he's up to. I think he does something, and I might be confusing him with somebody else, one of the many other Dolphins quarterbacks who have come through here. But I think he does like some content, if I'm not mistaken. I think he might do like radio, TV, something. But I got to track him down because, you could probably argue I'm the biggest Gus Frerotte fan in America. Like how many people in the United States of America or the world actually have in their possession, as I do, a game-worn, autographed Gus Frerotte Miami Dolphins jersey? Because that's exactly what's hanging behind me. Let me see if I can hold on. Let me bring it over here, see if I can show you guys the signature, just so you know it's legit. Like this was game worn and autographed. Hold on. All right, let's see. Hold on. I actually tried to put this thing on once. And you see, because if you've never, like, if you're like an NFL fan who's bought the jersey, yeah, I'm one of one. Thank you, Gus, his parents, and Donno. I'm the biggest Gus Frerotte fan. I've got a game worn autographed Gus Frerotte jersey. I actually tried to put this son bitch on once. Like it fit. This was like 15 years ago. So I was I've actually in the last 4.5 months, I've lost almost 40 pounds. I had been at 40 pounds. I gained a little bit back in Jamaica. But, but when I was like in college, it was when I got this in a charity auction and I put it on, and you realize like how different the fit is from like the actual NFL jersey compared to the ones you buy like on the internet. But yeah, there it is. There's the signature. You see that? Gus Frerotte, a true American original. Donno, the only guy in the world who owns a game-worn, autographed Gus Frerotte jersey. Certainly, I'm the only one who owns a Miami Dolphins game-worn autographed Gus Frerotte jersey. I never got it framed because it's Gus Frerotte. I bought it for like $150 this was in 05, remember. I bought it for about $150, but it was for a Hurricane Katrina relief auction. So I probably would have given $150 anyway, just for, a good cause. But I thought, I can get a game-worn Gus Frerotte jersey. Oh, there it is. I thought so. Thank you, Cap. He says Gus Frerotte has a podcast. I knew he was doing something in content creation. I didn't know if it was sports radio, podcasting, YouTube, but yeah, and he probably, these days, most people who have podcasts do it on YouTube as well. So I got to track him down, man. And then, and you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to invite, should I do it this way or would this just be too awkward? I'm going to invite Gus Frerotte on the show, and I'm not going to tell him that I have a Gus Frerotte jersey. I'm just going to let him look at it hanging behind me, and then I'm going to see if he brings it up or if I bring it up. That would be so delightfully awkward. Ooh, Tony Two Times says, I have a signed D Wade jersey hanging in my closet. I have to frame it. That's probably a better piece of memorabilia than my Gus Frerotte, depending on who you talk to, right? Because sometimes people are into the more random pieces of memorabilia. Because, like, I feel like if you go over to somebody's house, everyone has a friend. Maybe you're that friend who's got like a room full of memorabilia, right? I'm not really that guy. My memorabilia collection is like stuff I've like usually been given or acquired over the years, and I'm not very good about displaying it. But we all have those friends who have like a shrine where it's like they have like a little mini Hall of Fame like in their house, and they've got, oh my God, this is like Larry Zonka's helmet, and I've got Dan Marino's shoulder pads over here. We all know people like that. If you go to one of those people's houses and they show you, hey, I've got a signed Dwayne Wade jersey, you'd be impressed, but you wouldn't be that surprised. You'd be like, oh yeah, there's probably a lot of Heat fans who have one of those, right? You come over to my crib and I show you the game-worn, signed Gus Frerotte jersey. Now, that's a conversation starter. That's not something you're expected to see. Usually the first question would be, who's that again? What did he played here? What did he, so 17 years ago, it was a long time ago, man. People don't really remember those days. But all this to say, oh, man, can you imagine if we go from, recent years, University of Miami football, where they're literally signing head coaches from Temple. We go from that. And, the one coach with like a big name we've been able to get in recent years prior to this one was Mark Richt. But, Mark Richt had just been given the boot from Georgia, and he was an alum. So, like, and Mario Cristobal, I know, an alum as well. But, like, the circumstances were extra special there because Richt was out of work, right? So, other than that, you've been hiring multiple head coaches from Temple. You've been hiring, assistant coaches from like group of 5 teams, right? You've been getting guys from like the SMU, and, I like Lashley, who they got from SMU, but those were the type of schools you were poaching coaches from. You go from those days, Temple and SMU is where you're getting your coaches to, you're getting your head coach from Oregon. You're getting your offensive coordinator from Michigan. You're getting a ton of guys who have coached in the SEC. You're stealing, secondary coach from Georgia, and a ton of other guys like Kevin Steele who coached in the SEC. A lot of guys who worked under Saban, as Mario Cristobal worked under Saban. You're apparently going and snatching up a Pro Football Hall of Fame defensive end to maybe become a consultant or an analyst, or maybe defensive ends coach. We'll see exactly what kind of a role that he could take here. And yeah, it's incredible. It's overnight, University of Miami football went from AA to the majors, like over freaking night. We go from bargain hunting to, and Brooklyn Rob brings up here, Donno's Frerotte jersey is now an NFT. There must be some people in those board of trustees and some of these boosters. They must have made a ton of money in crypto or something, because all of a sudden we're surrounded by billionaires. Like all of a sudden, everybody who follows this program and boosts for this program is like, yeah, I got money to spend. I got my my NILs are coming in, and yeah, I want to make sure we get these top coaches. I love how history is rewritten with signing the Temple coach. I mean, yeah, we've had two of them. Manny Diaz was a Temple coach for over 2 weeks. Temple head coach. Al Golden was didn't even do that good of a job at Temple. Like, Temple has had coaches since who did a lot better of a job than Al Golden. I was kind of glad that Al Golden doesn't have a Super Bowl ring now, because remember, he was is the Cincinnati Bengals linebackers coach. So I thought, you know what? It's just, life isn't fair if that guy can get a Super Bowl ring. So yeah, it's been God, I want to make sure that there's nothing I forgot to cover today. This was a heavy baseball day with the news of Derek Jeter bouncing. Like, Jeter just decided, I'm out of here. My vision no longer aligns with the Marlins. But you're the CEO. I thought you set the vision. Well, the majority owner, Bruce Sherman, I think, is unable or unwilling to spend a certain amount of cash that Jeter thought they should be spending. And so he's history. 4.5 years, Jeter is out. If you missed the first part of the show, we had on excellent guest. You know him, you love him, Joe Frisaro, who's been covering baseball down here for a long time. He's the founder of Man on Second, and that platform is a partner here of the 5 Reasons Sports Network. We spent from about 5 minutes into the show to about 25 minutes into the show, we spent talking with Joe Frisaro. He was great. We have since talked Dolphins and Canes. We had Alfredo Arteaga from 3 Yards Per Carry on. He was awesome. So you have Jeter disassociating himself from the Marlins. He's no longer CEO, and he has relinquished his 4% ownership stake. We had the reports by Mike Florio about how the Dolphins, took a swing at Sean Payton about a month ago, and maybe were interested in taking a swing at Tom Brady playing here, and nothing materialized out of either of those, although I thought that was a clickbaity headline that really took you nowhere. Florio is still saying that the Dolphins will make another run for Deshaun Watson. Not only do I not believe it for the reason of Watson's legal troubles are still not behind him, and I don't see it getting sorted out that quickly. I think he could spend another year out of the game. I really do. I think it might be another full season before you see Deshaun Watson playing anywhere. So that's one reason why I don't think the Dolphins make another run at him. The other reason why is, and these reasons tie into each other, because I think the Dolphins may have just decided that this is not even worth the hassle of it. The moves that they've been making this offseason all seem to be centered, for better or for worse, around getting the most out of Tua. And I think that's something, I think that was influential in the head coach that they hired, that, hey, we found a guy who has expressed to us how much he wants to work with Tua. He's willing to take the job with that condition of Tua being the quarterback, and we believe he has an offense that can get more out of Tua than the previous offense did. So I think the Dolphins are putting all their chips on the table, at least for one more year. Now, year from now, if Tua has not succeeded and blossomed, and I hope he does. I'm a Tua skeptic, but I root for the guy. Don't confuse those two things. A lot of you out there assume just because somebody like me might not rate Tua's ability as high as the Kool-Aid drinkers, and I may be more skeptical as to whether or not this guy is ever going to be a franchise quarterback, or if you're ever going to look back on Tua's career and say, good thing we drafted that guy 5th overall. I don't know if we'll ever have those conversations, but I'm a lifelong Miami Dolphins fan, and I think Tua is a great guy for what that's worth. I think he's a tremendous guy. I wouldn't be saying that about Deshaun Watson if he was here, that's for sure. Tua seems like a tremendous guy, hard worker. It's hard not to root for him. So please, do not confuse my skepticism for his abilities with me being one of these terrible human beings out there who are like rooting him to fail just so they can say, I told you so. I know people like that. I know people out there who are so dead set against the idea that Tongo Vailoa is ever going to be any good, and they just want to be right. Like, I told you this guy stinks. I told you we never should have drafted him. I knew that this guy was a liability. I'd much rather be winning playoff games and Super Bowls than be right about Tua not being great. So I would be more than willing to take the L on that one. This is another one. I don't know the answer to this. Will Tua be better than Tannehill? I don't think it's not going to take much more for him to be on par with what Tannehill was here, but will he be better than Tannehill? Honestly, that's going to depend a lot on what they do in building around him. That's going to depend a lot because, the Dolphins didn't give Tannehill enough to succeed. The Titans have given him more, and he's still throwing away playoff games like he did against the Bengals because that was on Tannehill. The rest of the team played well enough to win that game. Tannehill literally intercepted it away. But yeah, listen, if they can actually offensively find the right mix at O-line and maximize this scheme, because Mike McDaniel is bringing in a dynamic scheme, then yeah, I think Tua could end up having at least a better Dolphins career than Ryan Tannehill did. Chris, this is the comment of the day, I think. Word on the street, Derek Jeter lost his job because he liked Watson over Tua. Doesn't even matter. If you're in charge of personnel for any South Florida team, you had to have an opinion on Tua or Watson, right? Oh, man. So huge shout out and thank you to our sponsors that make this show possible. And by the way, I'll throw this out there to you guys because we're always looking to extend the family. If you're a business owner or a decision maker, small business, big business, doesn't even matter the size. If you or someone you know is a business owner or a decision maker, and you want to put your brand with us here at the 5 Reasons Sports Network or even on the show on Donno Daily, hit me up, man. Hit me up in the YouTube comments. Hit me up on Twitter if you follow me there. The DMs are open. We're always looking for ways to expand the family. I've been one thing that's been kind of eluding me is we've got our amazing sports bar, we've got our amazing sports book, fantasy sports provider. I've been looking for something in the alcohol realm, right? I've been looking for like a brew, a beer brand, micro brew, craft beer, maybe a liquor store, something like that, because we want to get the Friday happy hour really going. So if you know anybody who's in, it doesn't even have to be the beer business, but if anyone you know or you're a business owner and you want to get involved on 5 Reasons Sports and on this show, hit me up, man. We would love to chat. But yeah, huge shout out to the Quarterdeck Seafood Bar and Neighborhood Grill. Oh, that's where I'm gonna get my seafood fix there this week. I'm gonna head out there, eat a fresh mahi sandwich, eat some buffalo shrimp. It is gonna be so good, man. Quarterdeck Restaurant, great place to watch a Miami Heat game, a Florida Panthers game. And yeah, you've got Masvidal Covington, or Covington Masvidal, I think would be the proper way to say that because Colby has the better resume. UFC pay-per-view this Saturday night. You can watch it at the Quarterdeck for zero cover charge. You pay nothing at the door. Make sure you guys are signing up at our official sportsbook, betus.com. They give you 125% sign-up bonus. Full-service sportsbook. It is available in Florida, and they're going to give you 125% sign-up bonus when you sign up with our code 5RSN125. That's 5RSN125. Make sure you sign up with our code so you get the credit, so we get the credit for it, and you get the big bonus, 125% free play money on top of your deposit. And friends, we have an official fantasy sports provider here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network, our amazing friends at Prize Picks. You've probably seen the Prize Picks billboard. Maybe your friends are playing it and you haven't gotten into it yet. Now is the time, guys. Sign up at Prize Picks. It's you versus the numbers. It combines my love for parlays and for daily fantasy. You can even go cross sport, cross team, cross sport. You select 2, 3, 4 players and predict if they go over or under their fantasy sports projections. And if you get 4 predictions correct, you win 10 times your money. It is amazing. And use our code when you sign up, 5. Spell it out, FIVE. If you use our code, they're going to give you a 100% deposit match up to $100 for your first deposit. Prize Picks truly is daily fantasy simplified. All right, let me throw some shout outs here. Cap for Life, thank you so much. I already forgot what I was talking about here. He says, who are these people, Donno? We want names. We want names. I already, well, what were you referencing there? I already forgot what we were talking about there. Oh, man. Cap, I already shouted out. Alex M has been very active in the chat today. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Shake Money. Bob and Brian Greasy jersey could be worth something as a set. Father and I think, yeah. I mean, I'm not that great with like collectibles. I remember, so about a year and a half ago, I found my old stash of sports cards because, like every kid, growing up in the 90s, I had all these packs of sports cards. I kept them in good condition. I put them, a lot of them, like I put in those like little album books where people put cards, so they're good condition. And like I stumbled upon like two giant books of cards. I had a bunch of baseball cards, a bunch of soccer cards, and a few football cards. And I'm looking through them. I'm finding some big name players that everyone remembers. Like I got Sammy Sosa cards. I had the only card, and I had two of them that I found that was worth more than like $1.50 were two Mia Hamm, the female soccer player. I had two same card, but I had two of them Mia Hamm rookie cards. And when I say worth something, they were literally worth like $27. And I was like, I thought, oh, there's gold in here. Oh, I've got all these. I got like 1,000 baseball cards. I got a bunch of soccer cards and NFL cards. I thought, oh, there must be thousands of dollars. There was like $87 in my entire collection. So I don't know, man. And I'm sure with jerseys, but yeah, I would think if you've got Brian, well, oh, hold on. Are they signed or not? Obviously, if they were signed, they'd be worth a lot more. But like, still, I don't know. There may be a market out there for Brian and Bob Greasy jerseys, and Bob is a Hall of Famer, so there might be something out there. Brooklyn Rob, thank you so much. Oh yeah, the Finns tailgate. He says I've got a ton of cards, a few signed. Well, that was part of my problem. Was none of my cards were signed. Maybe if I had some that were signed, they would have been worth more. But I'm telling you, man, I had like a couple thousand cards, and like my entire collection would be worth like $87. Like I sold the two Mia Hamm cards for like, $50 total. I think the rest of it was like a bunch of nothing. Oh man, Tony 2 times. Thank you so much. Oh yeah, he mentioned he's got the signed D Wade jersey. I think I'm doing a bunch of duplicate shout outs. I apologize to those who have not been shouted out yet. Cap for Life, thank you so much for tuning in today. Let me see who else. Got some Russian spammers in. Like, hopefully you guys are pulling out of Ukraine and you're focusing on spamming my show again. I hope you're not doing both. It's ridiculous. Leave Ukraine. I mean, if you want to spam me, fine, but leave the Ukraine alone, man. It's ridiculous what you guys are doing out there. IMAX, thank you so much. Yeah, he's talking about Brady with our O-line. Yeah, well, let's let Brady get his ass kicked. I'm sure that like if Brady, however close he really was to coming here at any point in the last 3 years, he would have wanted some kind of assurances like, you guys are going to upgrade the O-line, right? Like, please, please upgrade the O-line. Maybe that's why Brady retired, because he thought, yeah, I don't really want to play in Tampa anymore. I'd like to go to Miami, but woof, that offensive line. The Bucs played us head-to-head this past year, so they saw firsthand in Tampa how bad our offensive line was. I don't think Brady wanted any part of that. Let's see. Who else can I shout out here? TH from the 203. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Let me see. I'm scrolling down. And again, I'll say the same disclaimer I always give. If I miss anybody, it's not on purpose. I'm literally scrolling through the comments manually, trying to shout people out that I haven't shouted out yet. My guy, everybody's guy, Ricky J. Mark, thank you so much for tuning in today, taking part in the live chat. Man, a lot of there must have been some great conversations going on. I wish I could keep up with the conversations better while I'm talking, but I'm not that great of a multitasker because I see so many of the same people conversing. David, thank you so much. Three Ninjas played baseball. Hire those guys. Wouldn't the kids from the Three Ninjas, and I love that movie, but they've got to be like 40 by now, those kids. I mean, I think the one kid, when the movie came out, I think that the two older kids were like maybe a year or two older than me. Tum Tum was like a little younger than me. So those kids, like the older kids are probably 40 by now, and Tum Tum is like 35. He's probably like 300 pounds because that kid, all he would do was eat candy. He's probably morbidly obese at this point. So I don't know. I don't know if the Three Ninjas would be that great. Maybe that's why Jeter left. They had a disagreement over the Three Ninjas. All right, let me see who else. And again, I appreciate everybody who takes time out of their day to watch. I don't know. That might be it. I probably missed some people. If I missed you, I apologize. Don't take it personally. We will talk to you guys again tomorrow. Same time, same place. 5 Reasons Sports YouTube. This has been another episode of Donno Daily on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Wait for it. Hold on, I'm trying to find the outro. This is what happens when Manny is not here. I'm left to my own devices. All right, here it is. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow on 5 Reasons Sports YouTube. Later.